Yogurt. All right, let's do it. Have a look here. Hello, YouTube. Good to have you with us. Greetings. Let me get our share up here. All right. So, yes, there it is. The ex-chief of staff to California Governor Gavin Newsom, arrested by the feds on allegations of plotting bank and wire fraud. Bank and wire fraud. Oh. So who is this? And when was he chief of staff? That is my first question. When and for how long? Dana Williamson. Sounds like Dana Williamson from his top age from 2022 to 2024. So for quite some time. And it sounds like see if we can find out exactly when he was cut loose. Because I gotta say, now that this hat has tumbled out into the public here, I'm gonna go ahead and guess that they knew back in 2024 when they parted ways. Just a guess. They probably caught wind of something, being searched or something. So it was only December 2024, so really not that long ago. Just very, very end of 2024. Interesting. Let's see, when did she allegedly move on to? Dana Williamson, who's as chief of staff to Gavin Newsom, served as his enforcer at the Capitol and top liaison to powerful labor unions and business interests across California. Oh, gee, really? Sounds like a position ripe for, well, fraud and all kinds of hanky-panky. Okay. Described by Newsom aides and allies as his political assassin. Their words, not mine. In Sacramento. Replaced by Nathan Barankin. Veteran in California politics. Spent years as a political consultant and advisor to Kamala Harris. Wow. So where did Dana go? Where did Dana go after all this? Or did she just try to lay low? Interesting stuff. Okay. Anything else here I want to play? Oh, Ben's on the pipe bomb situation. Why not? Let's check that. Or is this the same one we played the other day? Might be. Yeah, I think it is. Oh man, South Korea's president yesterday tells police and civil officials that hate speech and misinformation spreading on social media must be considered a crime. A crime, damn it, that goes beyond the limits of freedom of expression and must be severely punished because it's a threat to democracy.
일부에서 인종, 출신, 국가 뭐 이런 것들을 가지고 정말로 시대
Shouldn't you guys maybe be worried about, like, I don't know, your very bad problems with corruption?
차고적인 차별, 혐오가 횡행하고 있습니다.
Or is that the misinformation that you're that you're threatening people to? I don't know what they're even being threatened with here, but they don't even say severe punishment.
이 사회가 점차 양극화되고 있는 와중에 이렇게 극단적 표현들이 사회 불안을 계속 확대시키고 있습니다.
I'm kind of curious what the South Korean media space, alt media included, curious what all that is like. I have no way of knowing. I remember that little peek that we got at it years ago, I don't know, 6-7 years ago, when the lady, was she the prime minister? I forget. Did that scandal tumble out where she was some like weird male cult or something? It was really bizarre. It was a bizarre story. It's the only time I've really gotten a peek into South Korean alt media reporting and stuff. It was fascinating. Okay. Oh, Crowder offering a neutral debate space for who? Tucker Carlson, Ben Shapiro, Mark Levine, Candace Owens. Oh God. You know what? I'd pay to see that. I would. Well, I don't know about pay, but I would see that.
Look, as of right now, this moment, I believe still, Ben Shapiro, Mark Levin, Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens are all trending. And it is just a bunch of friendly and in some cases unfriendly fire. It's a civil war in the right now. And I'll tell you, that's really honestly a fight for the soul of the country. And what I mean by that is the left has no soul. We know that. It is a soulless succubus. And so whatever moves forward as the right wing, the conservative, the populist, the MAGA movement is going to determine the soul of this country. And I've been around here, certainly doing this kind of a show, the longest, been on YouTube since 2009. I've had Ben Shapiro on this show many times. I've been on Tucker Carlson's show back. He was a host in Fox and Friends Weekends many times. We've crossed streams with Candace Owens. I've had Mark Levin on the show. I'd like to invite every single one of them, Ben Shapiro, Mark Levin, Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, on the show for a conversation, for a debate, however you guys want to do it. Because I think there does need to be some neutral territory here. And I think that this idea of...
This whole thing is getting like all a bit cringe. I gotta say. Just this entire idea that like both groups can't just exist and advocate for their own interests, whatever those might be. And when they align, and when they don't, they don't. Like, the whole thing just puzzles me. It's ridiculous.
This is men's fragrance. Yeah. This is what, you know. It's the best fragrance. Come here,
This was hilarious. He just starts spraying them with cologne, turning them into like walking stereotypes of Middle Eastern men.
Okay.
Which of course they are.
So what we'll do is just take that, put it in, and then the other one is your wife. How many wives?
What a day.
You guys, I never know. I never know. This is men's.
That just cracked me up, man. Thought that was so funny. What a moment. This, however, not pleased, not happy with this. Very, very the opposite of happy with this.
Republicans have to talk about it.
And does that mean the H-1B visa thing will not be a big priority for your administration? Because if you want to raise wages for American workers, you can't flood the country with tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of foreign workers.
You also do have to bring in talent. When
we have plenty of talented people here.
No, you don't.
We don't have talented people here?
No, you don't have.
Yes, we do.
You don't have certain talents, and people have to learn. You can't take people off an unemployment line.
There are rare, very rare, and most of all temporary exceptions to that, sure. But by and large, I guarantee to you we have the talent.
I'm just say,
and if we don't, we can train for it very quickly. We've done it before. People have done it for frickin' decades. People have retrained to pivot to entirely different careers when the floor falls out from whatever it is they're currently doing for forever. Nothing new. This whole thing just ticks me off, dude.
You into a factory where we're going to make missiles, or I'm going to put
How did we ever do it before?
Right, because we didn't do that in World War II, because, we didn't mobilize the entire, a massive portion of the population that had never worked such a job before, women. And yeah, they made missiles, and we did it, and we did it better than anybody.
Well, let me
When you
just,
and I were
I'll give
growing
you
So what the fuck?
an example. In Georgia,
Pardon me, but what the fuck? It's just absurd, dude. This pisses me off. Pisses me off with him. I'm not happy with this.
they raided because they wanted illegal immigrants out. They had people from South Korea that made
Hyundai.
batteries all their lives. You know, making batteries are very complicated. It's not an easy thing and very dangerous. A lot of explosions, a lot of problems. They had like 500 or 600 people, early stages, to make batteries and to teach people how to do it. Well, they wanted them to get out of the country. You're going to need that, Laura. I mean, I know you and I disagree on this. You can't just say a country's coming in, going to invest $10 billion to build a plant, and going to take people off an unemployment line who haven't worked in 5 years, and they're going to start making
Yes, you can. Yes, you can do exactly that because we've done it before, like a lot.
missiles. It doesn't work that
Well,
way.
Except for when it has, and ended up saving the Western world. At least that's what I always thought.
Republicans have
It just ticked me off, dude. You couldn't tell. Not pleased with that. And I know I'm not very much not alone in that. I've seen people laying into it on social media all over the place. And I'm glad because it's ridiculous. He has got to disabuse himself of that shit. Oh, this is interesting. Ed Martin talking about I guess he had a convo with Bongino over the weekend.
Can you give us any update or any insight into what exactly is happening when it comes to the pipe bomber investigation? Where would you like to see this go? I think the American people, more than ever, sort of just want answers.
Yeah, well, let me make a broad comment on J6 because it's, again, within our weaponization working group, something I care a lot about. As pardon attorney, we pardoned a bunch of the J6ers. As U.S. attorney at the time, that was out of my office, so I lived with that. It's an extraordinary thing. I can say that the scope of that problem of J6 is almost mind-boggling. The conduct of the government, the law enforcement, the day, it's unbelievable. But we're in it, and we're in it hard, and we're in it in a lot of different ways. On the pipe bomb, I don't have anything to add except to give you some context. Let me say this. As U.S. Attorney in D.C., I brought people in and I said, where are we on this? And we had a great FBI agents that had been just changed out to get new agents, and we had prosecutors, and we said, we got to redouble. And everybody redoubled, and that's been going on for months. As to the current state of it, I don't have any comment except I talked to Bongino over the weekend, and he said, look, we are in this completely, and it's not off the radar. This is not something that anybody should think is out of the off of anybody, and Dan and I know each other for a long time. To hear him say it, I know exactly what he means, and so I'm confident that we're making progress. Look, I know we're making progress in ways that people can't see yet. I know because I'm in that, but I think on that one too, things are going to play out well. And we got great people now. We got the right people in the right places, and I think you're going to be really confident, Benny, in the coming months and really the coming years. It's going to be a long play on all this stuff, and we got to keep grinding.
Just a quick follow-up on that, Ed. What do you see? Because when you came on the program last, you were very confident in the architecture that was being built around what seemed like a larger conspiracy around January 6th in order to deplete the Capitol Hill police forces, not have the National Guard show up. Nancy Pelosi obviously has now decided to leave office. Do you foresee Nancy Pelosi having to answer questions about her activities that day? Do you foresee potentially the new January 6th committee in the House really cracking open some of the mysteries and some of the more nefarious activities around that day?
I'm sure they'll definitely get some stuff out there, but I don't know that we can rely on them for the goods.
And do you
like the real goods? They'll feed people a trickle of crumbs, sure, but it's going to take people both in and out of government doing a lot of hard work a lot of digging, a lot of collaboration, shitload of work, piecing together what the fuck happened. Because I don't know that we can ever rely on Congress critters for that. In fact, yeah, I do. I know we can't. So
Yourself, Ed, like believe that there is a larger conspiracy at play there by the Fed?
there are of course exceptions to the rule, and those are the people we'll get some of the good crumbs from. But the unfortunate part of that is they themselves are just like, single lone people with, maybe a team of 10, 20 people backing them that are granted good people and also working hard, but they're only that. And they are up against a behemoth, the behemoth, the federal government. There's only so much that a good lone politician can do. Sadly, it's just the reality of it.
Well, second question first up. I have a lot of confidence in Barry Loudermilk. He's got a good committee now. I think he's going to get to the bottom of a lot, which is really helpful to have that tool. As to the third question about do I see a grand conspiracy? I see a lot of pieces, and I think we just have to keep digging into those pieces. And I am very confident that because, for example, as in weaponization, we have had people come in and they say, I was targeted as a J6 defendant in this way. And we've had to look at how that happened. And it's opened up a whole set of questions about how government was being used that wouldn't have come into our minds when we first started. In other words, the scope of this investigation is so big, but up on Capitol Hill, in terms of that day, there's a lot to still unpack, and it's being unpacked. And I don't like to make, now that I'm one of the people investigating, I don't like to comment on what I see as the grand X or Y, but I just can tell you, I am very, very confident that we are getting to the truth, that we are getting to accountability, and that we have the right team together to do that. That's something that I've not wavered on, and I'm still pumped up about.
It's good to hear him say all this, because he's one of the few that I do believe and take to heart when he says something. I can confirm he has absolutely devoted a lot of time to all those things, to especially J6 and surrounding issues is very important to him. So skip that. I think we played that yesterday. That guy spends more time at church than I think anybody I've ever met, by the way. Megyn Kelly is, Megyn Kelly on the whole Charlie Kirk bit. I haven't watched this, but I've seen it like making the rounds today. Tagged it just because a hot issue, so let's see it.
And here's the thing, Stu. I was recently going through some old pictures to find one of me and Charlie that I knew we took at that event. And not only did I find pictures of me and Charlie, but I found a video of me, Tucker, and Charlie speaking backstage right before Tucker went out. Tucker and I were talking. Charlie came over and interrupted for just a second. And you can hear him on this tape, which I've listened to many times. It's very clear on my phone, less clear here probably as we play it. But he says to Tucker, "Go Max." He interrupts the conversation because he has to say to Tucker something.
I wonder if that's a, actually, I kind of wonder if that's like a little inside joke, a little reference to Tucker Max. I don't know if any of you out there are early internet fans like me. From my generation, you probably know about Tucker Max, but if you're any older, maybe not.
And what was so important to him to tell Tucker was, go Max. Here it is. It's quick. It just happens to be on tape.
It is pretty clear, though. Yeah, he does say it.
He has to say to Tucker, and what's important to him, go Max. Here it is.
Interesting. Okay.
It's quick. It just happens to be on
It is indeed what he seemed to do at that event. So
tape, and it backs up
Tucker, I mean,
what Tucker said. And so I just think we need to be realistic. Charlie understood what was happening to the conservative movement over Israel. He probably understood it better than any of us because he absolutely loved Israel. And
yeah, I think that's probably true. He loved and had, you know, kind relationships with people on both sides of the matter, and it is a difficult thing to be in the middle of. Just any spat between people you care about like that, I can only imagine. Like, I mean, well, I don't really have to imagine. I see it out in chat all the time. I know how it goes. I've said it for a long time. It's the one issue that'll, more than any other, that stands the greatest chance of just ripping the conservative movement apart, no matter what you think about it.
yet he represented and was of young people. He was young. That was his constituency. That's where he spent all of his time. And he knew that even on the right side of the aisle, they had turned and were turning on Israel. And knowing all of that, he told Tucker to go out there and do all the things Tucker did. Go Max, he said. Now, why did he do that? Because he knew there was a faction within the conservative movement that needed a voice. They needed somebody to put their thoughts and their complaints and their objections into words in a public setting and not just cede the whole argument to the other side, which has been dominating conservative thought and media forever, you know, the Mark Levins of the world. And so it's one of the many reasons why I really object to this attempt to otherize, snuff out the voice of Tucker Carlson. Charlie knew exactly where Tucker stood on these issues and wanted him, and I quote, to go Max. The answer to what is happening right now on the conservative half of the aisle is not to silence Tucker, to diminish him to the point where he doesn't have followers. Not that that's possible, you lunatics, or to try to delegitimize Tucker.
I agree. Tucker is, broadly speaking, when it comes to that side of things, Tucker's the nice one, the sane one.
If anything, Tucker is a remaining voice for Charlie, whose views were changing himself. So I have nothing against Ben saying all the things he feels, or more neo-Connie people feeling that, or pro-Israel people saying all. I think they should say that, and I understand perfectly where they're coming from. But there is another reasoned, passionate point of view, and Tucker represents that. And that's what he's been doing on his show. It rubbed some people the wrong way, but it didn't rub Charlie the wrong way. In fact, he wanted more of it.
Yep. Okay. What's this? This morning, David Spunt, Justice correspondent from Fox. New bill to open the government being voted on tonight gives Senate Republicans the ability to sue over the Biden FBI and Jack Smith spying on Senate Republicans. What about all the shit they did to the rest of us, man? Can we at least maybe try that first before you sue them for $500,000 each?
Some Republicans are joining Democrats expressing concern. Then special counsel,
like, golly, man.
Jack Smith, though, ultimately was never able to take.
Not to say it's not disgusting what they did to these Senate Republicans. It is. They need to pay for it. But you need to see some effort on some other fronts, maybe before this one.
Then former President Donald Trump to trial as the Supreme Court stepped in. Now, the way this provision is written, it's tucked away on page 217 through 229 of the funding bill. Senators could bring lawsuits and sue the federal government using taxpayer money if federal law enforcement...
None other than Lindsey Graham claims multiple violations against him. I have been violated, he says.
seizes or subpoenas their data without notifying them. The damages could mean each senator could get $500,000 for each violation. Senator Lindsey Graham was one of the senators who later found out that his data got into the hands of Jack Smith's team. Here he is a few weeks ago. Watch.
Oh boy, we get to hear it.
If they violated my constitutional rights, if they trampled on the separation of powers involving me, I'm going to sue the hell out of these people.
Oh, dear me. Alrighty then, Linz. This is a message that the GOP needs to listen to.
What I found is that I have my finger on the pulse of where the politics of America is going right now, and it is not going towards conservatism.
One of the few pollsters out there worth a damn.
Right. Conservatism has basically become the luxury value set that DC Republicans love to convince themselves will win hearts and minds finally this time. And everybody knows after we see zero action out of the Republican Party that it's basically just a grift job, just a donor harvesting operation, basically. Well, what do the youth want? What happens is when Trump wins an election, he convinces a higher proportion of the under 40 vote to turn out for him than we've ever seen before.
Yep.
All the Republicans say, oh, look at.
But that's for Trump. That is, yeah, they all start thinking it's about them, but it's not. It was always about Trump.
Us, we're so great. We just, we won the youth vote because Republicans are great. It's like, no, these
But what happens when that's gone?
people are not conservative and they hate you. They only voted for Trump to give him a chance of fixing America, and you're screwing it up. And so I look at these people, even the ones that say they support Trump are overwhelmingly supporting socialist policies. And, that's wild. That's new.
There is actually a significant crossover there. It's very weird, but it is true.
These people want major industries nationalized. They want excess wealth distribution. They just want America fixed, and they don't care how it's done. And so I think there's this aspect of Trump support that really gets overlooked, which has been like young, angry online men that have been the butt of American society.
But I've been telling y'all for a while now, if the GOP broadly and especially Trump himself fuck this up, you do not want to see what's coming next. The youth will swing hard to Zoran Mamdani and friends. Hard. It's already happening. Unfortunately, the first inklings of it are absolutely. Well, he won. Hello. Granted, that's New York City, but if you think that ain't going to spread, you got another thing coming.
People are not.
If things continue to get worse and people continue to get desperate, young people especially, who are faced with, well, the prospect of never owning a home, never achieving anything that they were promised when they were children, all the shit that they were sold. It's already bad enough for my generation, but you just wait.
Not reading William F. Buckley. They want a strong man. They want things fixed. And unfortunately, they've been around for 10 years. They haven't really seen a lot of stuff get fixed. And now all of a sudden, it's like, well, Trump came in. He was wrecking the government. Everybody loved it. And then that stopped. And what happened? Well,
they have basically got until November of next year to make drastic strides in the right direction.
Probably the Uniparty killed Doge. Donald Trump was getting
and that is something I don't know. I don't want to sound pessimistic, but maybe I am. I don't know.
60% approval rating of under 40 voters. That's just like insane. That's literally nutso. And now where is it? It's 35%. And who do those people like now? They like Mamdani. So you have this core voter though, and like the keyboard warriors and the 4chan folks and all these people have always been there, and they've always been a pariah. And I come out and explain to the society that they don't want Republicans. They just want you to fix things. And these people are important. And what do I get? I got 300 DMs of people from like mostly Gen Z, but some millennials who are like, listen, I give Republicans a chance. I'm so demoralized. And some of these are just brutal. I'll just read one. I'll join the club here. Completely done with MAGA and Trump. The federal government could freeze assets of illegals tomorrow.
The Virginia election was a canary in the frickin' coal mine, man. Said it from day one. The minute they announced Winsome Earl Sears, she's a fine enough person. I have nothing against her as a person, but as a candidate, it was a fucking train wreck. And I saw it, and everyone else saw it. Everyone else like me, everyone my age in the party and younger, we all saw it. We all knew, because none of us were excited by it. It was fucking boring. Just cringe. More of the same old shit. I'm a black woman. Like, come on, man. This is not the moment for that. That is long past. And they just they refuse to listen. I know people shouted this at them. The Virginia Grand Old Party. I know it because I know the people that did it. Some of them, anyway. And they didn't listen. All the bigwigs, all the old hats did not listen. Wait got thrown behind disaster. Like, if they don't snap out of it after that and realize the direction they need to be going in, come midterms, and even then, it's bad news. It's bad news that we lost Virginia, dude. It's, I mean, I say that partially, of course, because I live here, but not a good place to lose ground. Not now. Here's a look at just the general average moron that we're up against. They're everywhere.
I hear that you're probably a very, very pro-Trumper.
From how could you tell? From the
Christian nationalist stuff going on.
Why is it a Christian? Are you a Christian?
I sure am a Christian.
And why do you say it's national? I'm not a, whatever that means, I really don't know. But
Sure.
why does the cross mean Christian nationalist?
When you're using it from a news perspective, I would say that you are very much looking to have Christianity infiltrated into every aspect of.
But you say it as if that's an offensive thing, and it's not about politics. And it truly offends me now that you're saying that it's offensive to be Christian.
Christian name in honor of a man who would rather separate women and children.
Do you believe a cross is offensive on a mic flag?
I didn't say the cross was offensive. The cross is offensive. The Bible says that it's offensive, correct?
Okay, so the cross is offensive. So is Christianity offensive?
It can be if you're going to force it down people's throats.
I'm not forcing it down your throat. You could be a Muslim. I mean, it doesn't matter to me. You're Jewish or Hindu or whatever. I'm not. Did I even mention it? You're the one who brought it up.
I am, because of the way that you're speaking. So you're not here to have.
I'm speaking by saying that we should be focusing on other things besides a ballroom derangement.
You brought up the ballroom.
Right. I'm speaking in
All this because she asked a question about the ballroom.
Saying that Trump is ushering some
Woman hones in immediately on the offensive cross hanging from her neck.
deals that are beneficial to all humanity, not just America. I'm saying that a lot of people think he deserves a Peace Prize. I'm saying and agreeing with you that SNAP benefits are at risk and that the government should reopen. It just takes 5 Democrats to do so. How is that speaking as a Christian nationalist?
I didn't say you were speaking as a Christian nationalist. I said I could understand by what it appears in the way that you're asking your questions and the way
you're
that
just making.
Anyway, you get the point. They're everywhere here. They're bold. Increasingly more so. Oh man, what's all this business with Epstein spinning around today? I saw some. Is this all coming from Michael Wolff? Saw his name in one of the emails, so I assume it must have been. Interesting. New York Times worked for Jeffrey Epstein, tipped him off on investigations. Really? Oh, Landon Thomas Jr., financial reporter for the New York Times. Tipping Epstein off. Oh nice. It was back in September of 2017. Wow. All right. Anyway, let's keep going to the main pile here. Okay. What all we have going on today? I'm not all doom and gloom, by the way. I mean, you should know that. Like, I do think, I'm fairly confident at this point that some definitely good things are on the way, especially regarding certain people facing consequences for certain things that they've done. Big names, too. But that's the unfortunate fact is that's just not going to be enough. Is not going to be enough. It needs to happen, and people will definitely respond well to that. I think, at least some people. But that is far from the only concern that we have, especially in the longer term. Things have got to turn around, just economically, et cetera, or it's all cooked anyway, you know. You got to pull that rabbit out of the hat, or, you know, I don't know where we're going to be. Let's see. U.S. Mint will officially stop minting pennies. That's right. November 12th, today. Why did Democrats, this is from the Oversight Committee, why did Democrats cover up the name when the estate didn't redact it in the redacted documents provided to the committee? Because this victim, Virginia Giuffre, publicly said that she never witnessed wrongdoing by President Trump. Democrats trying to create a fake narrative slander Trump. All right, so what are they saying here? Oversight Democrats saying oversight Democrats have received new emails from Jeffrey Epstein's estate that raise serious questions about Donald Trump and his knowledge of Epstein's horrific crimes. Read them for yourself. We get handed scant 3 emails. Okay. What do we get here? Oversight Democrats, or whatever your name is. From Ghislaine Maxwell to presumably Jeffrey Epstein. Yep. Or no. Okay, it's an exchange between the two. So Jeffrey Epstein sends to Ghislaine, I want you to realize that that dog that hasn't barked is Trump. Redacted victim spent hours at my house with him. Seems to be Virginia. He has never once been mentioned. Police chief, etc. I'm 75% there. Gee, could that be because, I don't know. I mean, they're trying to imply that it's because he did something wrong. But what if the implication here is that he did something right? What if the implication here is that Trump was a source of information for the feds, which indeed he was? I don't know. This seems a little bit thin to me. Oversight Democrats. Not that there's much of a difference. Okay, victim Mar-a-Lago, redacted, blah, 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 blah. Trump said he asked me to resign. This is from Epstein to Michael. Oh, there it is, Michael Wolff. Trump said he asked me to resign. Never a member ever. Of course, he knew about the girls as he asked Ghislaine to stop. That's it. Okay. What's the next one? This is an interesting one. From Michael Wolff to Jeffrey Epstein, dated December 16th, 2015. And I quote, I think you should let him hang himself. Huh? I mean, they're talking about Trump, I believe, is what's being implied here. I think you should let Trump hang himself. But boy, isn't that an interesting choice of phraseology there? Like, really? You don't say. Yeah, let's keep going here. If he says he hasn't been on the plane or to the House, then that gives you a valuable PR and political currency. You can hang him in a way that potentially wow, Michael Wolff, you were just disgusting, aren't you? Just a real sleazebag. Trying to literally consort with Epstein here and advise him on literally how to blackmail Trump, or attempt to anyway. That's what this is. You can hang him in a way that potentially generates a positive benefit for you. Or if it really looks like he could win the presidency, you could save him, generating a debt. Of course, it is possible that when asked, he'll say Jeffrey is a great guy and has gotten a raw deal and is a victim of political correctness, which is to be outlawed in a Trump regime. Boy, Michael Wolff's a real shitbag, isn't he? Good Lord. Interesting they didn't care about hiding that here. Yeah, I gotta say, that seems pretty thin to me. And seems entirely like they could be referring to Trump having been the one talking to the feds, or one of the sources that had been close to Epstein at one time, talking to the feds and, feeding them everything they knew. That's what that seems to say to me. Like, I'm 75% there, as in I'm 75% sure that it's him. The dog that hasn't barked. The one that hasn't publicly said anything. I don't know what that could be referring to, but All right. Where were we here? Lost our spot. There we are. All right. Speaker Johnson announces the shutdown should be officially over tonight.
Morning. Good morning, everybody. Just wanted to come out and say that we believe the long national nightmare will be over tonight. It was completely and utterly foolish and pointless in the end, as we said all along. I just want to apologize to any Americans who are out there who still have flight cancellations or delays today. I want to apologize to the many American families who are made to go hungry over the last several weeks, our troops and other federal employees who are wondering where their next paycheck would come from. All of that's on the Democrats. Just never forget, they voted 15 times between the House and the Senate to close your government. And the Republicans tried every single day of the shutdown to open it. And we voted 15 times to do that. They have a lot to answer for. And I just want to say that we're very optimistic about the vote tally tonight. We think this is going to happen, and we're sorry that it took this long. So Republicans are going to deliver for the people. We're ready to get back to our legislative agenda. We have a very aggressive calendar for the remainder of this year. There'll be some long days and nights here, some long working weeks, but we will get this thing back on track. So thank you all. Stay tuned for more tonight.
Speaker, do you have any reaction?
Government funding bill to be voted on tonight. Yep, again, I think we already saw that. I tagged it. Allows Republicans to sue over the Biden FBI and Jack Smith spying on Senate Republicans. House expected to vote tonight to end the shutdown.
If you thought House Democrats were going to return to Washington if they can get here on time, of course.
Yeah, right.
To reopen the government and rubber stamp this plan, think again. Here's House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries saying he still wants those Obamacare subsidies included in this bill.
House Democrats will strongly oppose any legislation that does not decisively address the Republican health care crisis. We want to reopen the government. We'll continue to stand by our hardworking federal employees and civil servants, but we have a responsibility to make sure that we extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits.
That's the Schumer plan, one that Jeffries once opposed just last month. A one-year extension of those Obamacare subsidies, but many Democrats are now calling for Schumer to step aside. Now, one of the many reasons to reopen the government to fully fund SNAP benefits, which have been...
Interesting. Wonder if they'll end up forcing him out. Besant says 2026 is going to be a blockbuster year, making America more affordable. Yeah, that had better be the name of the game for them for 2026, and then some.
I was just down in my hometown of Charleston, South Carolina on Friday, and this new Boeing plant is opening up. That's 1,000 new jobs that the president has brought back. I went to a rare earths plant up in Sumter, South Carolina, 800 construction jobs, 300 permanent jobs that they think could become 3,000 permanent jobs. And the great part of the story there is those were Caterpillar workers who had been laid off. Thanks to President Trump, a new factory has moved in. So as we bring these trillions of dollars of investment into the U.S., they're all starting to break ground now. And look, I would have loved to be able to snap my fingers, have these facilities going. It takes time. We got the tax bill passed on July 4th, which gives huge incentives to come to the U.S., build your factory, expense it immediately, and create American jobs. And I think 2026 is going to be a blockbuster year.
All right. So
let's hope so for all our sakes. Really do. Oh, okay. Interesting. Besant teases a substantial announcement over the next couple of days to address affordability in America.
So when you look at affordability now and you go grocery shopping, for example, what products are you working on bringing down? We know that certain products
it needs to be all of them.
Are down, certain up. Like, for example, coffee. The president says, I'm going to lower the rates, tariff rates on Brazil and Vietnam and other places to try to bring the price of coffee down. What else do you do?
Well, it's tough to do a lot of specific things, but I can tell you, Brian, you're going to see some substantial announcements over the next couple of days in terms of things we don't grow here in the United States.
Oh, okay. So,
coffee being one of them.
You mean, it's nice, I guess, but
bananas, other fruits, things like that. So that
how about houses?
That will bring the prices down very quickly. And Brian, we inherited this affordability mess. It was the worst inflation 40, 50 years, one of the worst in the nation's history. And affordability has two components. So there's the price level, and then there is income level. And what happened under Biden was the cumulative inflation, stated inflation, CPI, was 23%. But what happened to working Americans, their basket of goods and services, food, insurance, auto payments was up in the 30s. So they felt a real gigantic differential there. And what we are going to do is, by bringing back high-paying manufacturing jobs, President Trump is going to do what he did in the first term, and that is for hourly workers and working Americans to have real wage increases. So, Brian, imagine two lines. There is the inflation line. We've got that under control. It's leveled out. That is going to start turning down. Then there's the income line, which under Biden, because so many of the jobs were government jobs, you can't get real wage growth from a government job. Real wages are going to increase. Right. And I would expect in the first quarter, second quarter of next year, those two lines are going to cross, and the American people are going to start feeling better. But look, this has been a tough period.
They got a long road ahead of them. Ro Khanna, we're going to get the 218th signature today. It means by early December, we're going to get a full vote on the Epstein files. We need a full release of the files. Finally, that's going to happen. Interesting.
Well, look, we're going to get the 218th signature today. That means by early December, we're going to get a full vote on the Epstein files.
Huh.
And today there were bombshell emails that came out showing that Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell had emails about Donald Trump's knowledge of what was going on. So we need a full release of the files. Finally, that's going to happen.
Are you concerned, though, that the Senate may not pass this? I mean, and maybe the Trump Department of Justice won't even comply if the bill goes through?
Not if we get a huge vote here in the House. I mean, I believe we're going to get 40, 50 Republicans voting with us on the release. And if we get that kind of overwhelming vote, that's going to push the Senate, and it's going to push for a release of the files from the Justice Department.
And then on the shutdown, how concerned are you that there still isn't a path to solving this problem with the ACA subsidies?
I'm very concerned. I mean, look, we have to do this again in January. We should be talking to people like Michael Lawler, a Republican who said, I'm open to a one-year extension. Kevin Colley has said that he's open to some kind of extension. We should be working on a bipartisan solution that will extend those credits.
You called on Senator Schumer to step aside as leader of the Democrats. Obviously, that's the other chamber. But do you feel that House Democrats kind of got a raw deal here because you guys have been taking the hard votes and constantly these Democrats in the Senate have let you guys down?
I think the American people got a raw deal. 20 million Americans are going to see their premiums skyrocket. I don't think they like the fact that we didn't fight hard enough. This wasn't about making healthcare an issue. This was about making sure people's premiums aren't going up. I met someone whose father's a taxi driver in Arizona. His premium is going to go up from $44 a month to $2,600 a month, and he has cancer. For some Americans, this is going to be a death sentence. So we need to meet the moral moment, and we didn't.
You said 40 to 50 Republicans.
I think we could get 40 to 50 Republicans once it's on the floor of the House. Because people are not going to want to vote against the release of the Epstein files. But it's going to be historic. Today we get the 218 signature, and then we'll get the full release vote in early December. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, hey. Strange times, man. Strange times. Rep. Jasmine Crockett being brutally slammed for what? For being an idiot? And for dishing out thousands on luxury amenities outside her district. Okay, so yes, being an idiot. Bingo.
The hog right now. And for a woman who is openly flirting with trying to run for Texas Senate seat against Senator either John Cornyn or whoever comes out.
Damn, girl. Going to the Coco.
That primary.
Going to that Ritz-Carlton.
We're seeing a woman who's not spending an
got them limousines.
A lot of time in Texas. That whole list of places she's been living high on the hog, I didn't see anything mentioning Dallas or Houston
How about in
or
Amarillo?
Laredo or Amarillo. Right. She's all across the country making sure that she is getting taken care of, that her nails look fabulous, and that she's sounding
gotta
off
get my nails did.
where she wants to. The hog right.
China secretly bought a trailer park hidden behind multiple shell companies that happens to share a fence with our military's bomber fleet. I wonder what they could possibly want with that. A U.S. nuclear bomber fleet shares a fence with a trailer park linked to Chinese intelligence. Dear God.
The Daily Caller reports a U.S. nuclear bomber fleet shares a fence with a trailer park linked to Chinese intelligence.
What on earth, dude?
Here it is. So it's one thing for a Chinese couple to buy
here we go.
a trailer park. Here it is. This is thanks to Google Image. It is
I bet they got them freaking things stacked wall to wall with sensors of all kinds doing God knows what.
another thing for them to go to great lengths to hide who they are, including using multiple shell companies to conceal their identities. Why is this all important? Because they bought a trailer park in the middle of Missouri, no disrespect to Missouri. It's at the foot of the runway where America's largest fleet of B-2 bombers take off. So you can see on the map there, the B-2s are just on the other side of those trees. So here's the map.
Wow.
The trailer park is right behind the runway, less than a mile away. So in
Wow,
the event of
look at
war,
that.
our B-2 bombers would be taking off over Chinese-owned land. It's even more alarming when you factor in that the shell companies trace back to a convicted fraudster with alleged ties to the Chinese Communist Party.
How does this ever happen?
This is happening in Republican Congressman Mark Alford's district in the state of Missouri. As I said, no disrespect to Missouri. I don't think you buy a trailer park in near Whitman Air Force Base in Missouri as an investment when you're sitting in Beijing going, you know.
Right? That's wild. Like,
Property Protection Act, basically that says if you are a member of a foreign adversarial nation, a citizen or a company of those, China, Iran, Venezuela, Cuba, North Korea, Russia, you cannot own even an outhouse in the United States of America. You cannot go to those countries.
Okay, but you're not going to do that because you're not going to be able to take land away from all the Chinese people who own condos.
And here's something else, Leland. There is a Department of Treasury has the Committee on Foreign Investments in the United States of America called CFIUS. They are supposed to be taking a look at this.
Right.
Under the Biden administration, they were not doing their job. In fact,
this happened in the Trump administration, the first Trump administration.
And whatever department was running it at that time did not do their job, and they somehow overlooked. They started to put some regulations in place where they were going and looking at these.
Okay, so let's look at this.
They didn't have
where we're at
Air
now.
Force Base on the list of those. And
why would we have a list? Why would we have the Air Force Base with one part of the nuclear triad on the list? Who knows? Chinese companies buy land near U.S. military bases. Okay, so the Chinese have a plan to do this, right? And sometimes they conceal it through multiple shell companies. Sometimes they.
Crazy. Oh, you got burger? Got a daddy burger? Daddy burger. And she the best. I have the best lady. She got me a burger. Okay. Ooh. Fries with slices on it. Ooh, that's good. Good fries. God. Alright, let's set that aside for the time being. And keep going. Oh, this wacko. Jack Schlossberg, son of former ambassador, Carolyn Kennedy, and the only grandson of President John F. Kennedy is, running for office in New York City. In freaking New York City. Of course he is. Schlossberg said he will run in the Democratic primary to represent New York's 12th congressional district. That encompasses most of Manhattan. And while I am so certain that the JFK Jr. tards will be flipping a shit over this and just over the moon, joyous, happy. Me, not so much. Because this guy is not our friend. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to tell you. But Mr. Schlossberg is very much a turbo libtard.
The 32-year-old Democrat, the youngest of three children and the only son of Caroline Kennedy and her husband, designer Edwin Schlossberg. He's perhaps best known in political circles for having a quirky, at times crass, social media presence that's especially critical of President Trump and at times of his cousin, Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Schlossberg says he'll run in the Democratic primary to represent New York's 12th congressional district that, as you see there, encompasses most of Manhattan. Longtime Congressman Jerry Nadler announced in September he's stepping down after next year. Schlossberg campaigned last year on behalf of Kamala Harris and previously for President Biden. In a statement this morning, he says his campaign is for the young at heart, the strong in spirit, and anyone who thinks we deserve better. And you may think 32 is young to run for Congress, but JFK did it at an even younger age. He won his Boston congressional seat in 1946, Tony, at the ripe old age of 29. The 32-year-old Democrat, the youngest of three children and the only son of Caroline.
He's a loon, okay? Like, he's a total wackadoo. I'm sorry to tell you. If you were part of the JFK Jr. cult, crowd, I'm very sorry to inform you that he's a wacko. Kennedy name ain't gonna save him. All right, Anthropic to spend $50 billion on U.S. AI infrastructure, starting with Texas and New York data centers. Not Virginia, huh? Democrat Rep. Robert Garcia says more Epstein files will be released.
Congressman, when did you get this information?
We actually just received all of these emails, a total of about 23,000 documents, actually a few days ago, so last week, and we've been going through, our team, of course, through all of these very carefully over the last few days. We obviously released some today. We'll be releasing additional documents likely later today. The important thing here is that we know, and we've been demanding, that Donald Trump and the DOJ release the full Epstein files. In what's been released today, which obviously is some quite serious, I think, connections between what Donald Trump may have known. There's communication between Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, obviously making some claims about Donald Trump spending significant time, hours, with possibly one of the victims. There's also disturbing emails there about Trump and Jeffrey Epstein that people can read for themselves. I think what's important right now is that we want to know why Donald Trump spent the entire campaign saying that he would release the files. And now that he's in the White House, there is a massive cover-up going on. The survivors deserve the truth.
You know what? I agree, Mr. Garcia. Release the files. I agree. Let's have them. These people. Liberals are in full meltdown mode after Hegseth. What did he do?
Putting America first.
Look at some event here, Northeast Indiana Defense Summit.
And the roadmap is peace through strength. The third ingredient President Trump has injected is good old-fashioned Indiana common sense. Common sense is back at the White House, and it's back at the Pentagon. Common sense means putting warfighting, lethality, as the senator mentioned, training, discipline, accountability, readiness at the forefront of everything we do at the Department of War. That means no more social justice, no more political correctness, no more toxic ideological garbage that infected the department. As I've said before, but we repeat and we repeat because as a good old television host, you know it takes a while for it to actually sink in. No more identity months, no more DEI offices, no more dudes in dresses. No more climate change. It actually was a thing. It actually was a thing. No more climate change worship, no more division, no more delusions, gender delusions or quotas, no more distraction. As the chairman of the Joint Chiefs puts it, Pete, you're clearing out the debris. That's what it is. We're clearing out the debris from out front of NCOs and officers. We're done with that stuff. It doesn't take a PhD to understand that sergeants don't need sensitivity training.
Not bad. A little quote there. All right. Vance at, oh, that's right, the Maha Summit. That was today.
There is no way that this country is going to advance unless we're comfortable with people who are willing to challenge orthodoxy. And that's what I think got so broken, not just about the scientific bureaucracy, but probably it was worse in the scientific area than in most other places, is we've got to be comfortable challenging some of these old orthodoxies. And part of that is welcoming people who are a little unusual, because unless you do that, like, you're not going to solve America's problems with McKinsey consultants who say everything the right way all the time. No offense for the McKinsey consultants, because many of whom are very brilliant people, but like you need the consultant mindset. You also need the person who is just thinking about an idea because it's interesting and it's fascinating and it's not being focused on enough in the right way. There is no way that this country
That one's kind of long. All right.
You want to talk about like populism, and you want to talk about people being pissed off. Well, yeah, people
yeah, that is something, yep, people better start talking about.
Pissed off when they don't have good jobs.
Yes, glad he recognizes this.
People are pissed off when things disappear and move overseas, and people are pissed off when they feel like, you know, other countries are being prioritized over the United States of America, and all of that is part of the populist resentment of the past, 20 or 30 years in American politics. You know what really pisses people off? When they realize that their loved ones are dying much sooner than everybody else. And that is a big part of the story of what's going on in Appalachia. Appalachia and why I think so many people in Appalachia feel left behind. I mean, my story, obviously, it's been, you know, like you said, I'm like the golden boy. The things have just worked out for me in this really incredible way. I feel so lucky and so grateful for it. But I also feel a certain sense of guilt because there are a lot of people who grow up in families like mine who haven't had an easy life and who haven't had all this economic opportunity and who haven't had, you know, a person that they've fallen in love with and they've been able to sort of build a stable, nice family like me and Anusha have been able to build. And that gives me a sense of purpose because I want those people to have the same opportunities that I've had. But it also gives me a great sense of anger because we never should have gotten to the point that we are today. And the reason that we have is because of failed leadership, and it's failed leadership over generations. And by the way, these are, you talk about Appalachia, you were talking about people who, though they don't have much, would take the shirt off their back and give it to a complete stranger because that's what you do. If you go back to America's biggest wars, World War I, World War II, Vietnam, which are the counties that filled their draft quotas with volunteers instead of with draftees? It's very often the parts in deep Appalachia where you've got grinding poverty, but you've also got this incredible love of country. So if any place in this country deserves not to be left behind, it's Appalachia. But on the public health stuff in particular, the numbers don't look good. And it's one of the reasons why I'm such a big supporter of what you're doing, because these are people who deserve to live better, healthier lives, but they really have been left behind by this country's leadership.
Yep. It's good to hear this echoed by at least some parts of the administration. Secretary Bobby Kennedy next here. Okay, a little quick story about Trump. Why not?
One of the funniest moments in any cabinet meeting, President Trump had them bring in a full-size picture of himself with Putin. And when they were in Hawaii, and he's very tall, and Putin was very short. Putin came up to about here, and he said, you know what I said to him? He said, I've had it up to here with you.
It's kind of funny.
Okay.
I remember that.
That's funny. All right. Oh, Kash Patel. I didn't know he was out in front of cameras today. All right. Just, okay, fentanyl stuff. Yeah, whoop-de-doo. Major update on combating fentanyl crisis. People's Republic of China has fully designated and listed all 13 precursors used to make fentanyl effective immediately. Essentially, the president has shut off the pipeline that creates fentanyl. Well, that remains to be seen. Okay. They may have done it in word, but what about in deed? We will see. We will see whether China follows through on this in any real sense, or whether this is just telling us what we want to hear. You know. Press Secretary on Trump admin's progress fixing Biden's affordability crisis.
On another matter, I want to address the affordability issue that's received a great deal of media attention this past week, which is ironic because it didn't receive that much attention when Joe Biden was here and inflation was at a record high 9%, the worst inflation crisis in modern American history. And President Trump won a landslide election in part to address the affordability issues created by Joe Biden and the Democrats. And that's exactly what President Trump has done since day one of his administration. Since the first day in office and every day since, the Trump administration has taken aggressive action to fix the Biden-created cost of living issues.
I know, I realize that her job is to get up there and kind of cheerlead. I get that. That's the job. But, this is not my experience. And I know it's not the experience of a lot of other people in this country. They can say this all they want. But until people start actually feeling it in their wallets, None of this is going to matter. They can say this until the cows come home. But until I feel that shit in my back pocket, I don't believe it. Why would I?
Notion that the same Democrats who just shut down the federal government to sabotage our economy, rob people of their paychecks, and also helped Joe Biden ratchet up inflation to 9% are now suddenly affordability champions. That notion is completely absurd.
Like, I get, like, it's, well, and it's nice, it's good that prescription drug costs are being lowered for some people, but I haven't felt that. Nice that the cost of a typical mortgage is allegedly down $3,000 a year, but I promise you, I sure as fuck haven't felt that. Gas prices, I mean, what, maybe they haven't gotten worse. Maybe a slight improvement, although that might kind of depend on your area. Tax cuts are definitely good. That we will feel eventually, but that ain't coming until next year. Sorry. They're gonna have to do a lot better, man. 2026 had better be exactly what Besson pitched it as.
The Democrats dragged on the government shutdown for 43 days, the longest shutdown in U.S. history. But tonight, thanks to Republicans, the White House is very hopeful that this shutdown is going to come to an end. The damage caused by the Democrats with this reckless government shutdown cannot be forgotten. It is entirely the fault of the Democrat Party. Just look at the vote count. Hundreds of thousands of federal employees have missed their paychecks. Tens of billions in wages and benefits were withheld, impacting vulnerable families. Millions of low-income Americans missed their SNAP benefits. Nearly 20,000 flights at airports across the country were delayed due to staffing shortages, causing Americans to miss family events, vacations, and work obligations. According to Airlines for America, an estimated 5.2 million travelers have had their flights disrupted over the course of the Democrat shutdown. And our economy has lost billions and billions of dollars in economic activity over the course of this shutdown, hurting consumer sentiment and crushing the travel and hospitality industries. According to a CBO estimate, the Democrat shutdown could end up decreasing fourth quarter economic growth by 2 whole percentage points. The Democrat shutdown made it extraordinarily difficult for economists, investors, and policymakers at the Federal Reserve to receive critical government data. The Democrats may have permanently damaged the federal statistical system, with October CPI and jobs reports likely never being released. And all of that economic data release will be permanently impaired, leaving our policymakers at the Fed flying blind at a critical period. It's hard to recap all of this without asking a simple question: why? Why have the Democrats put the American people through this pain for 43 days in a row? And it feels like Groundhog Day being up here again talking about this Democrat shutdown. And the answer to that question is pure partisan politics. They started this shutdown with a ridiculous demand to force taxpayer-funded health care benefits to illegal aliens who broke into our country. Even after it was clear President Trump and Republicans would never force American taxpayers to pay for free health care for illegals. In fact, President Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill fixed that problem. The Democrats kept dragging this reckless government shutdown on for weeks longer to boost their turnout in an election, perhaps one may guess. That's because the Democrats are totally captured by their far left-wing base, who only care about attacking President Trump, even if it means hurting innocent Americans in our country. The Democrats' weakness and their unwillingness to buck the fringe members of their party dragged this harmful shutdown on for 7 weeks and inflicted massive pain onto the American public. But let's be clear. The clean CR being voted on today in the House of Representatives that will lead to the reopening of the federal government is what President Trump and Republicans have supported from day one. Our troops, air traffic controllers, and federal employees will be back to receiving their regular paychecks. Families in need will get back to receiving their food purchasing assistance, and the people's government will soon be back open for business. President Trump looks forward to finally ending this devastating Democrat shutdown with his signature, and we hope that signing will take place later tonight.
While that was playing, I was looking at gas prices. Looks like down roughly 10%. Oh no, that's as of July, so it could be a little better since then. It's not too bad. It's gonna need to be a lot better. I mean, I'll take anything I can get at this point, but all right. Oh yeah, that BBC thing was really messed up.
I will say, I know the president has a very good relationship with Prime Minister Sharma. You have been there, you've seen them in their interactions, you've questioned both leaders in your time joining us when we've gone to the United Kingdom a few different times now. However, he has always been very frank when he disagrees with leaders, even whom he has a good relationship with. And the BBC, being a fair news organization, is definitely an outlet. I think these two leaders would disagree. The president has made it very clear that this is a leftist propaganda machine that is unfortunately subsidized by British taxpayers, and he thinks that's extremely unfortunate for the great people of the United Kingdom and Great Britain. And I think that the president was deeply concerned by the editing, the purposeful and dishonest editing of his speech that was so clearly fake news, and he rightfully dubbed that term many years ago, and this is a classic example of that. We see it in the United States all the time. We see it now in the
They need to be held accountable for that.
United Kingdom.
Out of hand. Okay. Oh, is this? Yeah, about the Epstein emails. Okay, let's see.
These emails prove absolutely nothing other than the fact that President Trump did nothing wrong.
Yeah, I have to agree.
And what President Trump has always said is that he was from Palm Beach, and so was Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein was a member at Mar-a-Lago until President Trump kicked him out because Jeffrey Epstein was a pedophile and he was a creep. And this email you refer to with the name of a victim that was unredacted now and has since been reported on in this room, so I will go ahead and say it, Virginia Giuffre. And it was CBS's own reporting, Ouija, that recently wrote that Miss Giuffre maintained, and God rest her soul, that she maintained that there was nothing inappropriate she ever witnessed, that President Trump was always extremely professional and friendly to her. And so I think it's a question worth asking the Democrat Party, and you should all go ask them after this briefing, of why they chose to redact that name of a victim who has already publicly made statements about her relationship with Jeffrey Epstein and is unfortunately no longer with us. These emails prove absolutely.
Wow, that's insane. Mario9 in D-Live chat says, not complaining, but we got our MedX2 letter to, I don't know how all this stuff works, but MedX2 letter today about the new $125 more a month charge, now up to $900 a month full bill. Ugh. Good Lord. Okay. Tariff dividend payouts. All right.
Should U.S. citizens expect a $2,000 proposal? Is the White House committed to making that happen?
The White House is committed to making that happen, yes, and we are currently exploring all legal options to get that done. I don't have a timeline for you or any further details, but I can confirm for you that the president made it clear he wants to make it happen, and so his team of economic advisors are looking into it, and when we have an update, we'll provide one.
Should U.S. citizens expect it?
I mean, I'm certainly not going to turn down $2,000, but to a lot of people, that is going to be a joke. I saw someone mentioning it in one of the chats, 20 minutes ago or so. I think it was in D-Live. Someone saying their kids When their kids heard about the $2,000 payment, they laughed. Yeah. Yep, absolutely true.
As you pointed out, the Democrats were holding our country hostage to try to negotiate on a healthcare system that they created. Obamacare, as it's famously called, is a system the Democrats created. It is a broken system. It has driven up healthcare costs dramatically in this country. And now they shut the government down to try to fix that system they broke. It doesn't make any sense to us, which is why the president said that's a completely untenable position. However, once the government reopens, the president, as he's always maintained, is absolutely open to having conversations about health care. And I think you'll see the president putting forth some really good policy proposals the Democrats should take very seriously to fix, again, the system that they broke. You can't trust the same people who broke the system to fix it. And so the American people will continue to hear from the...
Yep. Yeah, I can definitely think of a lot I would do with $2,000 for sure. Make it go a long way. It's like what then? You know, like what's next? It is look, again, it's not nothing. It's certainly something, and it's a lot to people in a bad place. But what happens when the $2,000 runs out? You're right back where you start. Guaranteed to you, it'll go 2 months, if that, for most families. Not even. Most people just use it to pay down debt, and that's it. That's the unfortunate reality of what that will do. Democrat, and again, who's like, we already have enough debt as it is. Like our country. Just keep in mind when you take that $2,000, that's where you're taking it from. So. Democrats are trying to bring up the Jeffrey Epstein hoax again, Trump says, because they'll do anything at all to deflect on how badly they've done on the shutdown. Yep. And so many other subjects. Hey, you know what? Bring it on. Let him screech and bitch and moan and release the files. Let him do it. I don't know. Who cares? Let him come out. And that may be the entire point. Only a very bad or stupid Republican would fall into that trap. The Democrats cost our country $1.5 trillion with their recent antics of viciously closing our country, while at the same time putting many at risk, and they should pay a fair price. There should be no deflections to Epstein or anything else, and any Republicans involved should be focused only on opening up our country and fixing the massive damage caused by the Democrats. That certainly is the more immediate concern at this point, I'd say, but that's just me. Jim Jordan probes the Inspector General's role in Arctic frost investigation. Okay. Let's see here. Oh. Asking about the FBI and one agent from DOJ, OIG, seizing the cell phone of Representative Scott Perry. I remember that. While he was traveling with his family. Yeah. The seizure was, so that was related to Arctic frost. Wow. Related to a joint investigation conducted by the OIG and DOJ, codenamed Arctic Frost, which later became Jack Smith's partisan case against President Donald Trump. Excuse me. Recently released internal FBI documents show that as a part of the Arctic Frost investigation, the FBI obtained call logs for cell phones associated with 9 members of Congress, and that the Biden-Harris White House assisted the FBI in obtaining the government phones previously assigned to President Trump and former Vice President Mike Pence. Wow. We write to request materials regarding the OIG's involvement in the Arctic Frost investigation. That's definitely a big deal. Oh boy, Fetterman. They're calling him a fascist for this. That's right. For daring to color outside the lines.
You said, quote, I drunk deeply
which I'm sure he's very good at.
of the venom of both the left and the right. As a connoisseur, I can confirm that the most poisonous, the bitterest, is from the far left. That is pretty remarkable to hear you say that as an elected Democrat. Why?
Yeah, no. You know, it's just been my personal experience on this thing. And when I asked my digital team, I said, you know, we're on all the platforms. You know, really, what's kind of the harshest? What's kind of the most personal? And the answer was immediate. He said, oh, blue sky. It's blue sky. And the difference is, I mean, the right would say really rough things and names. You know, some names I won't repeat on TV, but the on the left, it was like they want me to die, or that we're cheering for your next stroke, or that's terrible that depression won. Why couldn't it depression won? And I hope your kids find you. I mean, they even have like the graphic, a GIF where they have like a stroke, in your head, cheering at that. Yeah, and they said that. I remember one, they claimed, oh, the doctor let us down, and why did they have to save his life? I mean, just really, like, I just can't imagine. People are wishing, I wish he dies, or I want him to die, literally cheering for a stroke. And I don't know what the kind of a place where that comes from. I mean, that's much different than just calling me a name. That's really been consistent, in that community online.
Yep. He really is a hoot. Like, boggles the mind how that ever happened. How he ever got there to begin with, but here we are. Jasmine Crockett breaks into a bizarre laugh and stomps one foot, mocking that you can recognize MAGA women because they all have a look, while gesturing to exaggerate large lips. I'm not going to say it.
Okay.
I'm not going to say it.
A lot of the MAGA women receive gender-affirming care, such as lip
You can say it, but I'm not going to say it.
fillers, breast augmentation, etc. Why do you think they are so against gender-affirming care for trans people?
You know you want to say it.
Okay, so I have this thing where, like, a MAGA woman when you see one.
1,000%.
They all have a look,
Big
right?
Back,
but they lips be up to anyway. That's a whole other issue. But yeah, they don't even know because when that was brought up on the House floor, because there was a discussion about this on the House floor, they were like, "How dare you say we use?" And it's like, no, that's exactly what y'all do. Y'all just didn't realize that that's what it is. But okay.
Yeah. Okay, a lot of the MAGA women.
I don't need to say anything, do I? Nope, I don't. And I shouldn't. So I'm going to move on. Anyway, the backstage video that blew up the Israel first attacks against Tucker. Oh, well, we already saw it earlier. The, as you say, go Max, or whatever. House Democrats plot to bypass Mike Johnson on shutdown deal behind a paywall, but of course they are. House Democrats have landed on their plan of attack to, let's see if we can steal this here, try and salvage what they see as an inadequate deal to end the shutdown, a discharge petition on extending their coveted ACA tax credits. Yeah. Tactic is a long shot. It will require Republican support that may not materialize. But they see it as the last hope. Their one and only. One and only hope. Caller on C-SPAN just dropped a bomb on Democrat Sam Liccardo. Let's hear it.
Who shut down the government?
Good question.
And you don't give answer because I know who it is. It was the Democrats. So let's put that to bed. Now let me ask you another question. I agree with Democrats on this. Public sentiment is in favor, probably on their side when it comes to subsidies for the ACA for the lower income people. I'm a retiree. I don't have ACA. But I have a hard time paying more taxes. I do well, but paying more taxes to subsidize people who are making more money than I am.
Yeah.
Who shut?
How's that? Federal judge orders release of hundreds of people arrested in Trump's immigration crackdown in Illinois. According to a CNN affiliate, WLS. Is. Good golly. I already played that wackadoo. U.S. Supreme Court sets oral arguments on, whether to uphold Trump's firing of Lisa Cook, the, board governor of the Fed. Supreme Court has allowed Cook to remain on her position for now, despite credible allegations of mortgage fraud. Definitely curious to see where they go on this. This is I don't know what the source for this is. It's unfortunately not listed, so I don't know if this is fresh or older stuff being rehashed. I don't know. Not sure. FBI says it was Adam Schiff that signed off on the leaking of classified info regarding Russiagate. Of course he did. What did he say here? Oh yeah. Schiff stated that the information would be used to indict Donald Trump. Redacted stated that this would be illegal. And upon hearing his concerns, unnamed members of the meeting reassured Redacted that they would not be caught leaking classified information. This is older. I do remember this. I don't know if there's more that's been released from it, like further info unredacted or something, but I think that's older. Just a few weeks. Pelosi flees our reporter after questions on stock scandal. National Guard refusal. Ooh.
Congresswoman Pelosi, will you support a ban?
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Oh, hey, it's Allison. Allison, what's her name? We just met her the other day.
Thank you. She already said yes.
You will? Any comment on outperforming the Dow by 17,000%?
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Pretty sure I know the guy behind the camera.
Last time you told me I was regurgitating Republican talking points, but you're on camera admitting that you turned the National Guard away.
Thank you.
Good for them chasing this down. Allison, what is her name? Steinberg. Allison Steinberg. Yeah, she has good work. Used to be, I forget where it was. I think at One American News. She did a show on One American News, like a behind the desk show, but now she does actual boots on ground reporting, which is cool. Good for her. Lindell TV has been doing well, by the way. I have to say they seem to have been expanding based on our chat with Ms. Steinberg and her cameraman. It sounds like they're really kind of starting to kind of come out from under the shade of all that crap that happened with Lindell in the past few years, and starting to hire new people on, which is very cool. It's good. Oh yeah, I saw this one earlier. Creepy as heck. AI generated country song tops Billboard chart, makes waves in the music world. Walk My Walk by the so-called artist Breaking Rust hit #1 on Billboard's country digital song sales chart, reaching over 3 million streams on Spotify in less than a month. Can we hear just a moment of this? Let's see. Come on.
I'm gonna keep on talking and walk my walk. The AI-generated country hit Walk My Walk by Breaking Rust, hitting #1 on...
I don't know. Creepy. I guess it's kind of more indicative of how formulaic and boring modern countries become. That it's just so easy to crank out shard out a hit like that. Justice Department prosecutor handpicked by Trump to lead the criminal cases against New York AG Letitia James and former FBI Director James Comey. Oh boy. Now the subject of a bar complaint that alleges she's unfit to be an attorney. Boy, they'll just try about anything, won't they? Any damn thing I can think of. Next year, U.S. House will end the will vote to end the shutdown at 7 p.m. That's coming up here in 15. Maybe we'll check in on that real quick towards the end of the show here. Here's Timu Obama ahead of the expected vote.
House Democrats will continue to fight to make your life more affordable. House Democrats will continue the fight to address the Republican health care crisis, and House Democrats will fight to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits. This fight is not over. We're just getting started. House Democrats will continue to fight to make your life more affordable. House Democrats will continue the fight.
European Commission today launched the European Democracy Shield. Do I even want to know?
La démocratie est notre trésor commun. Très longtemps, nous l'avons considéré comme acquis. Mais aujourd'hui, nos démocraties sont menacées.
Oh, you're going. So they're going to protect democracy by controlling the flow of information. Oh, that's interesting. Presented as a project to protect EU democracies from disinformation, foreign interference, and information manipulation. Key elements include, there it is, securing the information space. Yeah.
L'Union a besoin de sa propre structure dédiée à la lutte contre les manipulations de l'information et des ingérences étrangères, un bouclier européen de la démocratie.
Disturbing. Disturbing. Yeah, I'd hate to be in Europe right now. we got it pretty good over here. All things considered, I suppose. Although, that said, they're coming for us too. Just look at this shit. Look at this. Where's it at? Apple launches digital ID in the US. That's right. You know, public sector was lagging and people were pushing back on it a little too hard. So they just thought to themselves, hey, we'll just take it private. Fuck it. Yep, digital ID. You can now add a US passport in Apple Wallet. You know, for convenience. That way you can take the thing that fits in your pocket and fit it inside the other thing that fits in your pocket. Yeah. Anyway. Okay, Emmer ripping Democrats. Why not?
Well, they know it wasn't worth it. Frankly, the answers are disgusting. The behavior is even more disgusting. Literally, we're going to be voting on a CR that came over from the Senate. Martha, it's the exact same CR that House Republicans sent to the Senate back on September 19th with only one change. That is that instead of having a November 21st deadline, because they burned more than 5 weeks on this thing with this foolish and needless shutdown, it's got a January 30th date. They are also sending over 3 of the appropriations bills, which were essentially done in September. This has been completely futile. They got nothing for it, except they really did damage to the American people. And I'm just glad that 8 Democrats finally came to their senses and put the American people before their politics.
AOC turning on Schumer. Here we go.
I think it's important that we understand that this is not just about Senator Schumer, but that this is about the Democratic Party. And Senator
Tired of the push of the takeover.
Schumer, there's no one vote that ended this shutdown. We are talking about a coordinated effort of 8 senators with the knowledge of Leader Schumer voting to break with the entire Democratic Party in exchange for nothing.
Well, she's got that last part, right? Yeah. I mean, I suppose if I were her, I'd be pretty pissed too. But then again, I'm not her, so. Dana Williamson, former chief of staff for Gavin Newsom, has been arrested by the feds, by the FBI, on multiple charges, including conspiracy to commit bank fraud, wire fraud, conspiracy to defraud the United States and obstruct justice, subscribing to false tax returns, making false statements. It should also be noted this investigation was started 3 years ago under Biden's DOJ. Oh, look at that. Oh, yeah. Okay, that's right. So she was arrested originally back in November 20... Oh, no, pardon. That is this year. I said it was started 3 years ago under Biden's DOJ, so that would be at least like 2022. Interesting. Yeah, they must have gotten wind that something was going on, and that's why she stepped away in December. Huh. Jeffrey Epstein fretted with New York Times reporter about Trump 2016 win. Emails show. Is there any that we haven't seen yet? Oh, okay, yes. Landon Thomas. Let me see if we can just find the actual emails here real quick. Okay. Something in there about it getting scary. What was that about? Keep getting calls from that guy doing a book on you, John Connolly. Seems very interested in your relationship with the news media. Told him you were a hell of a guy. From Jeffrey Epstein to Tom Landon. Pardon, the reverse. One oddity said he'd been told that quote from Trump about you in the original New York Magazine story had been manufactured. That I did not actually speak to Donald, which is bullshit, of course. I'm sure that is what Trump told him, as they have been getting a lot of questions from reporters about you. He actually seemed to be a sensible guy / solid reporter. Just from the few conversations I had with him, I think he's close to finishing up. Did you ever speak to him? From Landon Thomas again to Epstein. He's digging around again. Not clear if it's another book or expanded paperback version. Was asking me all sorts of questions about why you hired Ken Starr. I told him I had no idea. I think he's doing some Trump-related digging too. Landon Thomas in several emails commiserated about Trump potentially defeating Clinton, with the journalist venting in a February 2016 exchange. It's getting scary, the stories you could tell. Actually, I don't think he/voters would care. Being effectively shameless is a pretty powerful weapon for a presidential candidate, Epstein responded. Thomas appeared to grow more frantic as Trump climbed in the polls. Does he win? He asked in a June 2016 email. I'm getting worried. Is he ever going to implode? September 2016. Too late, Epstein responded. Ask again 30th. Weird response. If you knew Trump was going to win, how would you position your portfolio? Fucking shameless. Pardon me, but wow. Epstein. Okay, that's it. Oh, creepy. Michael Wolff again with the bizarre phraseology. Michael Wolff urged Epstein to be the bullet ending Trump's 2016 campaign. Yeah, Wolff's a creepy guy. Okay, Mike Johnson has just sworn in Representative Adelita Grijalva, who was elected in Arizona to replace her late father, Democrat. Expected to be the 218th signer on the Epstein discharge petition, forcing a vote on the file's release. Trump hosting a dinner tonight with Blackstone, Stephen Schwartzman, JP Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon, Goldman Sachs CEO David Solomon, NASDAQ chief Adena Friedman, and Morgan Stanley CEO Ted Pick, according to CBS. Oh, nice. Ripping the H-1B scam. Good. Let's hear it.
700,000 H-1B visa holders in America. Now, who is coming to this country to take these high-skilled jobs? As I mentioned, STEM fields dominate the occupations, and most of the workers come from India. In fact, 70% of H-1B visa holders come from India. Another 10 to 15%.
As do all of our truck drivers, our hotel managers, like
come from
gas station owners, 7-Eleven managers.
80% of H-1B visa approvals are for entry-level or junior
Why?
jobs. That's a little hard to stomach when we hear that we're not talented enough, or
that
we're not
bullshit. It's total bullshit.
Skilled enough for these jobs when you consider that most of these jobs are actually at entry or junior level jobs. And it's definitely to the benefit of corporations, tech companies that can hire foreign workers, trust me on this, cheaper than American workers. This is laid out, by the way, by billionaire tech entrepreneur Palmer Luckey.
There's so much H-1B abuse. You would not believe what I saw when I was in Silicon Valley. It's
I bet.
It is insane. It's obviously a program to try and replace U.S. workers with basically slave labor that can't ever escape. The H-1B abuse is crazy.
I like Palmer. I like Palmer. I mean, there's things that I am a bit wary about with him, for sure. Some of the things he's mixed up in business. He's a smart guy. Great guy. New Earth has been... this is the freaking geomagnetic storm. Yeah, the auroras have been out of control. Saw it jumping off last night. I mean, not personally, but saw people posting about it. Crazy. Look at that. Gonna try to go out tonight and see if we can see anything. Okay, here's more on that.
Another major geomagnetic storm is currently on its way to Earth. It's expected to hit later today and tonight, and when it does, we're looking at G4 to potentially G5 intensity. For context, G5 is the highest that scale goes. You can't get any stronger than that. Now, yes, G5 storms can be serious. In rare instances, they can affect the power grid, they can affect satellites,
Yikes.
GPS, and even airlines. But the most incredible part of this solar storm hitting Earth is going to be how far south the northern lights will go. Just last night, we had a G4 storm, and people were seeing
so it's even harder tonight, huh?
northern lights in Florida, Texas, and
every freaking where.
even Mexico. So theoretically, tonight, if we get a G5, a stronger storm, people can see the northern lights in the Caribbean. But there's a big but. There's a part of solar storms that we literally can't predict. We won't know which way the magnetic field of the storm is pointed until it hits us. And if it's pointed the wrong way, the northern lights could be kind of meh and not go as far south. Think of it like the sun throwing a baseball at us and we're up to bat and we don't know if it's a curveball or a fastball until right at the last moment. Last night we hit a home run. Tonight we step up to bat again. The best viewing period is going to be between 10 p.m. and 1 a.m. So go outside, get away from city lights, and look north. And follow me for more space weather updates.
Interesting. I'm definitely going to see what we can see tonight. We're going to try to drive out to a darker area and see if we can catch anything. Okay, last one up here. Carolyn Levitt calls the Epstein email leak a distraction campaign. Let's see. Oh. There we go. Any second now, Pete. Any second. There you go.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Peter Ducey here on the driveway at the White House. Next to all these tents, you can see some of our colleagues and competitors are broadcasting. You know, it's funny. White House officials always have something. They pay people a lot of money to come up with talking points for the things that they want to talk about. Today, that would be the effort to open up the government, something that they say has only been shut down for 40 plus days because of Democrats. But where these communications professionals really earn their keep is coming up with the talking points for things that they don't want to be talking about. And today, that would be the release of these emails from 2011, Jeffrey Epstein talking to his convicted accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell.
See if we can find the Senate here. Or, pardon, the House.
Personally and seriously.
Oh, God!
Just this summer, I secured bipartisan support for my amendment to restore $51.7 billion in advance funding for the Toxic Exposures Fund. This is funding, mind you, that President Trump sought in his budget. Yet as Republicans slipped a slush fund for senators into this bill, they gutted a critical funding protection for veterans. Just so we're all clear, average Americans will see their kitchen table budget blow up from the health coverage price hikes, and veterans will see their future health care funding for toxic exposures put in jeopardy.
So, what? I guess they blab for a bit. Said the vote was supposed to be held at 7 o'clock, but maybe they got to wait for her to finish running her stupid mouth.
Everyone who votes for this bill. Well, House Democrats will oppose this partisan spending bill that guts America's health care, and we'll keep fighting to extend health care tax credits. Donald Trump and Republicans broke their promise to lower costs, and this bill certainly cements that betrayal. But Democrats will stand by our promise to lower costs.
You done yet, Debbie?
For every American knows Republicans are responsible for this devastating health care crisis.
Yeah, shut her up. Shut her up.
Yield back.
The gentlelady yields back. The gentlelady from Connecticut reserves. The gentleman from Oklahoma is recognized.
Oh boy, they just keep right on going. All right. Oh well, I don't know when it's going to go down, but eventually here. And with that, I shall hand it over. Miss Laura is in. How are you? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good. Indeed.
I have that pulled off to the side.
Did you get any of the Northern Lights stuff by you? Did you see any crazy shit?
I didn't see any, no.
Darn. Yeah.
But that could just mean now that I missed them.
Yeah,
I
true.
heard some fire trucks going by earlier, so maybe it made it some Southern folk panic. They
There you
thought
go.
the UFO was coming. 3-1, Atlantis is here.
Oh,
There's
God.
something purple in the sky. Yeah, Southerners, you know what I mean? They
Oh,
they
dear.
probably freak out around here. What is going on? You know?
Crazy stuff.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So is that going down with the shutdown? What you just played? I'm looking at now. There's something
Yeah,
live
I'll
playing.
drop the link to it here. They're
Yeah.
set to vote on it in any moment, I guess.
Okay.
It's
yeah,
supposed to be around 7. They're supposed to hold the vote, so.
I'll keep up with chat too to see if I can. They'll probably tell me some pop chat out. Keep an eye on it. Oh my God, I cannot stand that Wasserman Schultz lady. I cannot believe that she's back in office
Still
after
there.
everything she did with the Alwan brothers.
Yep. Still doing it.
Like hiring and spies to then, hack into computers is not like some disqualifying something. I don't know. There's Swalwell still in there with us after Fang Fang. So
Pretty much anything goes these days, I think. Sadly.
it's alarming.
Yep.
It's alarming. That's why I tell everybody run for office.
Indeed.
You cannot mess it up worse than those people.
Yep.
I'm telling you. Sometimes I think I would employ a blind rabbit more so than I would like some of the people in office. I think they do a better job. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like
No.
they trample over something with their foot, and I'd be like, "Yep, sign it." It makes more sense than something that they came up with.
Exactly.
We always like
Crazy.
follow the rabbit. It was a play on the whatever.
Yeah.
I got it. All right, go get some rest.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna go out for a drive and see if we can see some lights in the sky.
All right,
Yep.
that should be fun.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, we got a lot of light pollution around here, so I don't know how much luck we're
Take
gonna have,
your-
but
Take your bear mace.
yeah.
Just
Yeah, I
some
will.
crazy person. You
Yep.
know what I mean? Like I'm
You never
telling
know.
you, I talked to my sister yesterday. She's in Atlanta, and I told you we're very different politically. But she actually went to a gun range. She got comfortable with the firearm. Told me that she got one. I was like, Christy, you live in Atlanta. I'm glad. You need to carry it when you're walking your dog or whatever. Now, she travels a lot for her job, but I'm just glad to know that she's thinking about protection because she lives in a very prestigious neighborhood. I'll just say that.
Oh, there's some
But
nice
there's
parts of
still
Atlanta.
robberies.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
but there's still break-ins all down her road.
Yep.
And these are $1 million homes. They're not immune to it. No, they have some kind of app, like a neighborhood watch app, that they all communicate through.
Oh, creepy.
You know,
Wow.
like kind of like they're doing in South Africa when
Yeah, geez, what the
killing
heck?
all the farmers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I told her good. Yeah. So you and Radix, be careful, man.
Yeah, we will.
Yep. Sure, for sure.
Well, have a good show.
All right. Thank you. I
Yep.
appreciate it.
Yeah, back at you. See you, everybody.
Say bye to Pam. All right. Here we go. Okay.
All right, guys. That's it for me. Yep, we're gonna go out for a drive here and see if we can catch any northern lights. I'm gonna take a camera out and see if we can catch it at least on that. I hear talk that sometimes you can catch it on camera even if you can't really see it with the naked eye. So we'll see how it goes. I will be back, I suppose, tomorrow evening. Yep. I will see you guys then. Please don't forget to support us. I think we did have like one person drop a little something in the bucket last night at Donor Box, like $50. Whoever that was, thank you. Yeah, it's $50. But if anyone else can afford to drop anything else in there, it'd be much appreciated. Shaping up to be a rough month, so. Where's my chats here? There we go. Cool. All right. That's it for me. Love you guys. Hope you had fun. I always do. I will see you tomorrow.